a soldier in the Army National Guard can give you an edge in the high-tech job market of tomorrow. The Guard offers career training to take advantage of your skills in science, technology, engineering, and math that can help give you a leg up to a high-paying and rewarding STEM profession. Gain practical experience with emerging technology and equipment not found in the civilian world. The Army National Guard can get you started in an array of STEM-related career fields such as information technology, communication systems, special forces engineers, technical engineering, air traffic control, and chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear science. Get a head start on your career in an exciting new field while earning money to pay for college, all while serving in your own community. Log on to NationalGuard.com or talk to a recruiter in your area to learn about all of the STEM career opportunities available to you in the Army National Guard. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Want to help pull the plug on cyber terrorists? Or get the skills to work with satellites and other space technology? How about learning the avionics inside stealth fighters? And do you want to reach your goals fast? You can do it and take your life to the next level in the Air National Guard. Because you serve part-time, you do it in a way that works for you. You can achieve your career and educational goals with plenty of time for family and friends. The Air Guard offers nearly 200 career specialties, so you'll get the high-tech skills you need to kick your career into high gear. You can also be eligible for college tuition assistance. The best part is, in the Air Guard, you'll be making a real difference by serving your community and country. So get your future off the ground in the Air National Guard. Call the Alabama Air National Guard at 1-800-TOGO-ANG or visit goang.com/AL.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM, Auburn's premier home for student-run radio since 1971. I'm your host, alongside my color man, Davis Carroll, joined by the illustrious Alex Houston and the incomparable station manager, Grayson Moyer. We'd like to welcome in our listeners and viewers from around the Auburn Opelika Megaplex and around the world, however you may be tuning in today, whether that be on your terrestrial radio antenna, through the information superhighway at weglfm.com, or tuning in after the fact on transistor.fm, wherever you get your podcasts, or now watching the video on Eagle Eye TV. We are happy to have you here in the booth with us for Auburn's only student-run drive time morning show. And now, broadcasting live from the Bradley Basin WEGL studios in the bowels of the Harold Melton Student Center on the campus of Auburn University, where it is a lovely 75 and sunny this fine Monday morning. It's Compact Discourse. We welcome you a most sincere buenos dias, guten morgen, bon matinee, or a good old American good morning as we get on with the show. Davis, Grayson, Alex, how are we all doing this fine morning?
I'm doing okay, but I do resent you calling the first floor of the Student Center the bowels. Like, I know I call it the basement sometimes, but that's a pretty big misnomer. We have windows down here. I mean, not in our office, but they exist.
There you go. There's your qualifier.
There's windows in basements.
There's windows in basements, David.
I think the point is you shouldn't call anything the bowels of a building in general.
Well, sometimes
Y'all never heard spicing things up? Y'all are crazy.
Yeah, so sometimes it's correct. If you're in that, like, tunnel under Shelby, that's the bowels, but we're just on the first floor. We may be built into the side of the hill, and we may get no natural light here in WEGL, but, you know, we're not in the bowels.
Well, at this point, I would like to remind our audience, listeners and viewers now, that at any point in the next 2 hours you feel so inclined to ask a question, drop a hot take, or on the unlikely event that we get something wrong, you can go ahead and correct us. Go ahead and call in at 334-844-WEGL. That's 334-844-9345. You can also shoot us a tweet at CDiscAU. That's at CDISCAU. And our dedicated team of call screeners will handle your inquiry. Well, with all that, let's get on with the show. How does it feel to be back on a video show, guys? I'm really happy with it.
I think you might be the only one here who's actually been on one.
We have. Me
Oh,
and Alex
oh,
have.
I guess you guys were on extra
we
point.
did the
I'm
extra
sorry.
point.
That was a generalization on my
First
part.
time since the extra point finale to be back again. And really, I mean, this will be the first time consistently since, fall of 2020.
Yeah.
Because that's when the
Been a
extra point
while.
came back again and then disappeared again. So, pretty cool.
I've got to actually start shaving regularly again. So.
Good. This is to keep Davis up on his appearances.
This entire thing is just a grift to help
Yeah,
Davis.
make sure I shave on time.
All right, so
forget.
we will get right into the discussion for today, beginning with a little bit of campus lifestyle, a little bit of student affairs action, something I know the three of us took part in last week, and that is picking up your student away game tickets. And I know it's not an episode about of Compact Discourse, that a little bit of complaining, so I'm sure we'll get to that here.
Yeah.
Go ahead, and if you are interested in attending any football games this season, home or away, you are going to need to get the Get app and add your mobile Tiger card to your Apple or Google wallet, any kind of mobile secure wallet, whatever your phone has. If you have a Motorola Razr, which I've heard are back, you can get it in there as well. Go ahead and add it to your wallet because that's the only way you're getting into a football game this fall, be it home or away. For home games, you're checking in at the door like you're buying a coffee at the store, and for away games, you are heading over to the scholarship entrance at Auburn Arena by the Charles Barkley statue and picking them up from the window, paper tickets, of course, because how else are we going to do it in the year 2021? But if you're interested in picking up students tickets home or away, you are going to need that in your Apple wallet, which can be a point of contention for some people, but I think it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make to get into the football games. So, did you guys pick up your away game tickets? How many did you get?
I just got the one to LSU as well. I think Davis. Wait, no, you have more than me.
I got LSU, South Carolina, Arkansas, and whatever the other one is.
A&M?
No.
Oh, not
Penn
Ole
State?
Miss.
What did I get?
Because there's only 5.
I thought you just got 3.
I got 4. I'll check. I still have them in my bag.
There you go.
Good deal.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, I picked up all 5. That is at Penn State to start out, at South Carolina, at Texas A&M.
They're in my textbook.
At LSU, and at Arkansas. So excited to hit the road and see some games this fall.
I do only have 3. It's my fault.
What you got?
I got
3 said.
Arkansas, South Carolina, and LSU.
Gonna be fun. Looking
Don't
forward
steal
to it.
anything from me.
So, quickly now, did we have any problems with the way we picked up student tickets?
Alex does.
Jack, you're asking that question because you know what happened, or at least you know that there may have been.
It's good radio, Alex. He's setting you up for a
Yeah,
dunk.
I mean, so first of all, I mean, I'm not gonna be as hot-headed and complain about this as much as I did the day of, because the day of I was very, very angry about it. Now I'm just kind of whatever. But so if you all read the email, right? They were like, you must put your Tiger card on your Apple Wallet. That is the only way to pick up away game tickets. Tiger cards will not be accepted. That was the only option. So of course I go up there, and Jacob goes first, and he says, hey, so we want to sit together. And the guy basically sort of says, yeah, obviously, if you guys go back to back, you'll sit together anyway. So Jacob gets his in 5 seconds, and I get mine on my Apple Wallet, and I go and tap the scanner. It doesn't work. He's like, quick, shift your phone around at an angle. Now come down at it at an angle, facing the top of your phone. And I did that for about 3 to 4 minutes, and none of it worked. Which, again, I've had this problem on my phone for a while where it doesn't do the Chick-fil-A check-in thing either. Like, it doesn't work on that, which it's fine because I've never really needed it, and the rest of my phone works. So I wasn't going to ever fix it. But then, I'm thinking, oh, man, what am I going to do? Because they said the only way to do it is with my phone. And the guy says, oh, just use your Tiger card. And then I use my Tiger card in all of 5 seconds, and I got the tickets anyway. To where I guess and then the guy says, you may want to go to the bookstore and have them fix this on your phone. And I don't know how I would even do that anyway, let alone if I would have to buy a new phone in general, which I wouldn't want to do for one thing. Because my phone is old, but it still works. So I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to do in that regard. And again, if it's not going to work on game days, what I'm supposed to do with that either. But I guess I just don't really understand what the point is of not being able to use your Tiger card if you can.
Well, the entire point is to keep people from sharing tickets. I mean, that's the whole thing.
That makes sense.
So I had a President's Council meeting where they talked about this pretty extensively because apparently they're remediating this, but people have had issues with door swipes on the new ones. And functionally, the Tiger card and your phone do the exact same thing. As far as the reader can tell, it doesn't know the difference between a tap and your phone.
Interesting.
So, the text's the same.
That makes sense. But I mean, I don't know. It was just annoying because it was like the whole you must use your phone only. And then and the second they realized, now we're like, oh yeah, just do this, and then it worked. And I was like, oh, cool. Because now I've got to at least. I think my only thing that I can do, since I know it's not going to work on game days because my phone doesn't do that, I would have to go to one of there's like a practice swipe thing outside the stadium, and then if it doesn't work there, I'm supposed to contact them and tell them that it doesn't work for me, but I don't know what else I'm supposed to do in that regard.
Interesting. I hope mine works. I don't have to do all that.
Well, I mean, if your guys work to pick up the away tickets, you should be fine. That's the thing is mine has never worked in regards to any of this. It doesn't work with the Chick-fil-A thing, because they've got this little just tap the square, and mine has never worked.
Do you have the new card?
Yeah.
Okay, and the card works?
Well, the card actually works even less on like vending machines now too, so that's a great thing. My card does not work on any vending machines. I also still don't have swipe access, which I think is my card related rather than not filling it in. So,
You tried your Wells Fargo side of the card, Alex?
Well, that won't work on the vending machines.
Oh, never mind
unless you
then.
put money in it.
Have you put money in it, Alex?
That's the other thing we've heard. Apparently, the new ones are a little bit more susceptible to getting like demagnetized. I haven't had that confirmed by Tiger Card yet, but I've heard that from people who've had them in like phone wallets and stuff.
I haven't used it for. I mean, I've used it to go to like places like the Edge, and it's worked. But in terms of like swiping through vending machines or getting into the door here, does not work.
Okay, so I know, but for those people who may not know, what is something you could do to your card to make it get demagnetized?
So there are a few things. Apparently, one of the big ones for this one is like leaving it in a phone wallet and putting it on a wireless charger or anything like that. Or just having it in a phone wallet in general seems to affect it.
I've never done that.
I've done it by accident before, and this is going to make me look like a gigantic idiot. I'm staring into the camera right now. My Tiger card, my old one, started delaminating because I kept using it to like scrape things. And so I tried to iron it back together, and if you heat it up, it demagnetizes.
Awesome. That's awesome.
And I had to get it replaced. But yeah, don't do that. Don't get it near magnets. Wireless chargers are a no-go. If you run it like in your pants pocket through the dryer, I'd check it before an essential thing. But I mean, that goes for any mag swipe card, credit cards, anything like that.
Live and learn. Okay, well, we do want to give a quick COVID-19 update for the university. Auburn students are once again being reminded of the university's latest COVID-19 protocols, specifically involving testing positive or being exposed to the coronavirus. Any student, faculty, or staff member who tests positive for COVID-19 is required to submit an online self-report form. Students who have been exposed to someone with COVID should also submit a self-report form. That step is very important in getting the university to monitor trends and determine what rules need to be made, and I'm sure the rules and regulations that go on and off campus. Once a person submits a self-report form, they receive an automated email from the COVID-19 Resource Center providing detailed instructions, and you will get additional instruction throughout the length of your quarantine. And that is also, if when you self-report, is how you get access to the resources that will get you out of class. If you need an excuse to get out of class, that's how you're going to get your university-approved excuse. You can get you can get all these links if you just go to the Auburn University COVID Resource Center. It's not that hard to find. I had to go self-report, and it was just one Google search. Or you can go to your This Week at AU email from last week. I'm sure it'll be on the one this week as well. Or lastly, if you do email your professor that you've been exposed or have it, they usually direct you over to the COVID-19 Resource Center. So please continue to stay safe. Please continue to wear masks inside university buildings unless you're actively eating and drinking, intermingling with other people. That's just going to help everybody out and keep everybody safe. And that's about it, unless you guys have any other COVID-19 updates. I know we all want to be rid of this as quickly as possible. And following the rules is how we do that.
I saw something about a new Delta subtype found in England.
Uh-oh.
At a concert.
Have you verified this before you say it over the air?
Theirs called the Delta Plus variant.
Okay, have you verified this before you say it over the air?
Plus Delta is what you do at the end of a meeting to decide what you like and what needs to change.
Oh my gosh.
It might be a little bit of office humor you've fallen victim to.
I saw some guy who was like, oh my gosh, guys, the new variant, it's COVID-22 or whatever, even though that's not at all how you do any of that. like in terms of naming viruses or anything. So that guy,
Well, if
I don't remember his name.
we've learned
but
anything from the past year and a half, it's that people don't know things.
I've got
That's a very good point, Jack. Nobody knows anything.
All right, so before we hit the break, I am going to tease a little bit of what we have coming up this week. Do you guys know anything about the University of Akron?
That we're
In
playing
Ohio?
them.
Okay, two good facts. We
Oh,
are, we are playing them,
I know.
and they are from Ohio. But their mascot, while they are known as the Zips, which we can get into at a later date, as that's a fun name,
I know what they are.
their actual man-in-the-suit mascot is a kangaroo. And
Yeah.
it's actually
yes.
it's a lady kangaroo. It's one of the few
Awesome.
lady mascots in in college sports. So that's pretty interesting. So for trivia this week, I'm going to be asking 4 questions about kangaroos, just to get us hyped for this Akron game coming up, because college football just a few days away. So brush up on your kangaroo knowledge and get ready for this one. All right. The kangaroo is one of 5 animals on the Australian national coat of arms. If you can tweet at us at CDiscAU and name any one of the other 4, you will win a shiny, brand new shout-out on the show and infamy as we continue to honor your legacy as the first person to ever correctly answer a kangaroo-related trivia question on Compact Discourse. So if you think you know or you just want to take a stab at it, I'm sure you might get it if you just guess Australian animals. You may be the winner of a shout-out on Compact Discourse and the knowledge that you are able to identify kangaroo-related trivia to a T. With that, we will be back with some more Compact Discourse after a break. Don't go anywhere.
Is to expand COVID-19 vaccine eligibility for residents of Alabama. For information on current or future eligibility requirements, or to schedule an appointment for the COVID-19 vaccine at a county health department, visit alcovidvaccine.gov. Please continue to wear masks, practice social distancing, and proper hand washing. Sponsored by the Alabama Department of Public Health, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Making it green is making sure the air in your home is healthy for your family to breathe. Make sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN. Preserve your family's health and well-being. Get your home tested. That's living healthy and green.
Make it green. Green, green, green. Make it green. It's your home, it's your dream. It's
sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN.
A message from the U.S. EPA.
Welcome back to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM, WEGLFM.com, or if you're watching live video now on our Twitter page or our YouTube page, we welcome you in to the show as we are broadcasting live from the WEGL studios right here in the Auburn University Harold Melton Student Center. I am joined by Alex Houston, co-sports director, station manager Grayson Moyer, and civilian Davis Carroll. Welcome into the show, guys. So glad to have you here, and thanks for making the trip over here on a fine Monday morning to be on the show with me. Let's plug a little WEGL action as we had a full weekend of broadcasts this past weekend as the Auburn University soccer and volleyball teams were both able to come away with some big wins to start off the season extremely strong. We are very much looking forward to broadcasting the rest of the Auburn University volleyball and soccer home games right here on WEGL because the teams got off to such a great start this past weekend. Where do we want to start with this one, Alex?
I mean, I think one thing to really start with is because, Auburn soccer's been good a while. This team was great last year, even with a lot of freshmen. Now these freshmen are, sophomores, and this team is getting better. But volleyball is possibly going to be one of the biggest surprises of the year because, they were bad for a long time. And last year did they not win a set? I
They
think
won one.
They won one set last year. And again, that was in the SC only schedule, and it was Brent Crouch's first year trying, and that happened.
And they opted out.
Yeah, exactly. And that happens. But, to open the season 2-0, it's their best start since 2015. First time they started 2-0 since 2015. Their game against Jackson State was the first time they hit over 400 since 2018. I mean, they're playing a lot, just simply a lot better, and in such a short amount of time. I mean, I think it's exciting. I think you could certainly point to Jackson State and Tennessee Tech both had over 20 errors, which is a lot, right? But still, Auburn, especially in their second game against Jackson State, hit 457, one of the highest they've hit in a long time. And I think it's just exciting to see. And Jacob and Aiden were on commentary, and they were talking about how, the lower bowl filled up like it was the whole student section of a basketball game was there. And, it's really exciting times for Auburn sports if that's the case, because, again, the soccer complex had a great crowd for Auburn soccer's first game against BYU, and now this, just really exciting time for Auburn athletics in general. But, yeah.
Absolutely. So, you said the the lower bowl filled up.
That's what they were talking about on the air.
So that's pretty awesome to hear, considering how much of a struggle it's been for the volleyball team in the past few years. And to win their first two matches and win them in a sweep, 3-0, and both of the opponents they had in the War Eagle Invitational, that's big.
Yeah. It was the first time they've swept anybody in straight sets since 2019, and they did it back-to-back. I mean, it really was a way to set the tone for the new era by starting off with your best starts since 2015. I mean, they've got this tournament coming up this weekend, and they'll be back at Auburn Arena on September the 8th. So really a chance to start the season off strong in this next week or so.
That's good to hear, and you can catch all of the home volleyball matches right here on WEGL 91.1 FM or WEGLFM.com, wherever the radio broadcast signal goes out, whether that be on your terrestrial radios or on the internet live stream. Moving over to a little bit of soccer action, Auburn wins their first two games, I believe, against BYU and Samford.
We also beat Troy.
And Troy. So 3-0?
Yes.
Statement wins for the Auburn Tigers soccer team as they look to continue their success that they've had over the past few years, and kind of be the dominant leading sport in the ladies' sphere to lead the charge for what everyone else is trying to do.
And they
So,
they did make the top 25, which was, I think, one of the first times they've done that in a few years.
So they're doing it on the road as well, taking down both in-state opponents on the road, taking care of BYU at home on that rainy Friday night, I believe.
Yeah, and their game against South Alabama that was scheduled for yesterday was postponed because of the hurricane and everything, but I imagine that'll be rescheduled somewhere down the line. But yeah.
So happy to see that. And once again, I want to remind you that if you can't get enough of Auburn sports, not only can you hear the volleyball matches at home on WEGL, you can also hear every home soccer game on WEGL 91.1 FM. So we're extremely grateful to have such great teams playing on WEGL. So be sure to check out all of the programming that comes along with those. All right, at this point, I would like to remind everybody that you can follow WEGL on social media. That's at WEGL_AU on Instagram and Twitter if you want to do that. I know Aaron just posted a pretty awesome post from Auburn's win against the BYU team with a highlight from Aiden Kowalski, an infographic, pretty awesome. And beginning today, we are looking at daily content on the Instagram. If you are looking for all things WEGL content, I believe it's a DJ spotlight of one Chris DeBias, who may even be joining us later on the show today, and he has his first show coming up on Wednesday. So be sure to check out the WEGL Instagram for a DJ spotlight of longtime WEGL veteran Chris DeBias. You don't want to miss this. And then daily content coming out every day, Monday through Friday, on that WEGL Instagram. So be sure to head over to Instagram and search for WEGL_AU. All right, I'm done shilling. What's next?
Well, what is next, Jack?
All right, we can move into a little sports chat. I wanted to talk about Brian Harsin, stairs champion, and his new policy in the athletic building. So this is coming out from several Auburn beat reporters who have been walking around in the athletic complex, I think, and maybe in Jordan Hare Stadium as well, but definitely in the athletic complex. Coach Harsin has placed signs on all the elevators and escalators that they are for injured players only. He wants his players to take the stairs. And you know what? I can't be mad at that.
I mean, I think a lot of people were freaking out about it because the simple fact is he hasn't won yet. But, I mean, the guys that win, nobody really questions what they do. Saban is he's been creating a culture since he got to LSU and then went on to Alabama. And, I mean, nobody questions it. For example, people will always freak out when a head coach that does not have a history of winning starts losing on the sidelines. Saban does it every week. People just don't care because he wins football games. So what's the problem with it, right? We Auburn fans made fun of him for losing it at the end at halftime in the 2019 Iron Bowl, but it wasn't some national story like it would be for other coaches because he wins, right? And I think if Harsin loses his entire time at Auburn, then stuff like this will be ostracized by everybody. But
it will very quickly become like the Tennessee trash can.
Exactly. But I mean, coaches.
Can I request a timeout? What's the Tennessee trash can?
The Tennessee trash can was. It was a trend in the last 5 years or so that every time someone gets a turnover on the defense, they win like a gold chain or like a big pencil or like a silly prop.
Or Kennesaw State's plank.
Yes. Yeah, so it's like they win like a silly prop. But Tennessee thought it would be funny to bring out just like a trash that big gray trash can you have in your garage.
Yeah.
You know that one? And paint it in Tennessee checkered orange and put GBO on it, Go Big Orange. And then Butch Jones would hold it up in the air, and then the defensive player would come over and slam dunk the ball into the trash can, and most of the time they would miss. So
very, very
and Tennessee doesn't win, so then it gets made fun of.
Yeah, exactly. I really think this is not the craziest thing any head coach has ever done, and people acting like it is. It's just because people love being on the hate train of anybody, right? And especially Harsin as of late, because he's had negative PR for a while now, especially since the whole testing positive and whatnot. And I think and they're throwing the hats and whatnot. So I think people want to do that. But I mean, at the end of the day, if the guy wins and it works and the players don't have any complaints, then what's the issue? It's the same thing with the whole Chandler Wooten thing where he said I would have questioned my commitment too. Harsin said he was unsure of his commitment, and everybody lost their minds over it. And then Wooten came out like maybe 12 hours later and said, I completely understood it and felt it was completely justified. And everyone was like, can we still be mad if the one player who was questioned is not angry about it? And that's the thing. If the players aren't complaining and they win football games, what's the issue? Like,
I mean, I think this does it does stink of it's the off season and we have nothing to write about.
yeah, exactly.
But as someone who has taken a month off of powered floor changing apparatuses, I think stairs only is a good policy. I think it builds a little character.
I mean, it's just, it doesn't, like, it's not some tyrannical thing that he's like imposing on the program, and it's, no, I mean, like, come on, because there are those head coaches in all sports that are tyrants for no reason. That's just reality. You know, I mean, you'll see it especially at a lot of lower levels, because high school coaches will exact way too much power over kids that are 16 years old, and that's ridiculous. But I mean, this is just a little thing to maybe help establish a different kind of culture at the school and within the program. And I mean, if the players aren't complaining about it and don't have a problem with it, I don't really see why the fans should have a problem with it either. I don't know.
Yay or nay on stairs, Davis?
I don't really have an opinion on it. I don't really care. It's stairs. It's not like he's asking them to
Exactly.
like give them their social security numbers before games or something.
I guess that's where I'm at. It's like, it's such a small thing.
Exactly.
Like, I take the stairs. I don't care.
I just don't care.
That's my
I
thing.
don't care
Yeah.
in general. I don't care that this happened. It doesn't matter to me at all.
I mean, I don't either. It's just I'm mad that people are upset about it for what is
Sure,
amounts to no
yeah.
reason. Like,
It's the same. Sorry.
He's
Had
back.
something stuck in my throat there. It's the same thing when LeBron like stepped on Bron James Jr.'s court and they all freaked out for a month about it. They just need something to talk about, and this is Auburn's version of talking about whatever big athlete. Oh, LeBron ate this for breakfast. It's our version of that.
because here's the thing: is if, as I said, if Auburn goes 11-1 this year, and there's a Harson's first year in review, this will not be mentioned. But if they go 6-7, and people say write an article on the first year, they're going to mention stuff like this for no reason.
Do you think the stairs helped?
Like, I mean, it's just, exactly. It's just ridiculous.
Did y'all win this game or did they lose it?
What do you mean?
Something crazy like that. It's a reference to a video.
Oh, okay.
All right. When we come back from a quick break, we are going to continue talking about Auburn sports. We're going to talk about Davis's shirt that he has worn to the studio today, and we are going to give a weather update, including what's going on in the world of Hurricane Ida. We will be right back after these messages. You are listening to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM.
So, Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What? No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm gonna do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up. See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time. What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Unexpected reactions to smart financial decisions brought to you by feedthepig.org.
Well, I finally did it. I opened a 401k.
So you're giving up? Just like that?
Giving up on what?
On getting an inheritance from a distant relative.
Don't you think if there were a billionaire in the family, we'd know about it by now?
Listen to me. We are one phone call away from riding horses on our own private polo grounds. One call from christening yachts, having a butler, using summer as a verb.
How do you figure?
Look, everyone's got a rich uncle somewhere. It's statistics. So the best thing you can do is just prepare for the inevitable.
Right, which is why I thought maybe it would be smart to take control of my finances. You know, start using a budget, get out of debt, set some retirement goals.
Budgets? Debt? You watch your mouth. Retirement shouldn't be a goal for us. It should be a way of life.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
And welcome back to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM, WEGLFM.com, Eagle Eye TV, Transistor.fm, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts, and however else you may be joining us today, whether that's the live video on our WEGL Twitter or YouTube page, or if you found some way that I haven't quite figured out yet, please let me know how you are watching today. We are currently talking about Brian Harsin taking the stairs, but I think we've wrapped up that discussion, if I'm being honest with you. I just wanted to give a quick back sell. So if you want to hear that discussion, you can listen to the podcast for the full episode, completely commercial free. You can find that. Just go on Spotify, search for Compact Discourse, or whatever your podcast player of choice is. Usually gets uploaded around noon every day we have a show. But with that, let's jump right into the weather, everyone's favorite segment here on Compact Discourse. Currently in Auburn, it is 75 degrees, mostly cloudy. We are looking at a high of 84 today with a low of 72. This morning, there's a 10% chance of rain. This afternoon, it's going to get up to 81 degrees with a 31% chance of scattered thunderstorms as Ida continues to kind of spin her arms around the southeast. This evening, we're going to have a 50% chance of rain as it gets to 75 and cloudy. And overnight, be sure to put your plants outside because it is going to have an 86% chance of thunderstorms tonight as it is around 73 degrees and overcast. So expect rain today and tonight as Ida continues to tear through the southeast. Luckily, though, Ida has been demoted to a tropical storm after making landfall late last afternoon in Louisiana. So thoughts and prayers with all of those affected or in the path of Hurricane Ida, now Tropical Storm Ida, all of those in the Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, and West Alabama areas who are affected by the path of this storm. But it looks like the worst of it is now over, and we are continuing to track it as it moves as just a thunderstorm now effectively across the southeast of the United States. So, I know you guys' home county of Mobile/Baldwin, the ones down there,
yes,
had a little bit of impact from the storm last night. I know Bankhead Tunnel was closed at 7 p.m. In case of flooding. Are there, like, pumps at the bottom of the tunnel if water gets down there?
I think so.
I would assume so. If not, that would be a horribly designed thing. In the
people still drive through it when it's flooded anyway.
Yeah, and I mean that's one thing is no matter what happens, people in Mobile will just find a way to convince themselves they can make it.
Well, the thing is, Mobile floods so easily, you kind of have to.
I mean,
if it rains for more than 20 minutes, the roads downtown are going to be flooded. So you just got to get used to it.
Yeah, I mean, but
Alex lives downtown, so he probably tests it better than me.
I live like maybe 3 or 4 blocks over from the district that floods almost every single major storm all the time. Like we're in a bit of a better spot. I'm kind of in like a Middletown area, but yeah, I mean it floods a lot, and you know that's one thing is when you're living right on the coast, every single storm, even if it isn't a tropical storm, it sometimes feels like it because it's just, I mean, you're getting hit with everything. And, I mean, the big thing that really goes on there that takes the worst of it is the place below Mobile, Dolphin Island, which is counted as a barrier island, which for those who may not know what that means, that's just an island that just basically sits out in the open ocean and takes the brunt of a storm before it tends to decrease in strength. And it gets battered pretty much any time there's even a light breeze. Like, Hurricane Katrina cut it in half.
Grand Bay where I live.
Hold on.
Okay.
Before everyone's going to share some hurricane stories or just heavy rain and flooding stories while we're on the topic. But before that, I do want to remind everybody of our trivia question that is still pending. If you'd like to tweet at us at CDiscAU, that's at CDiscAU, CDISCAU. It's short for Compact Discourse. you can go ahead and do that. Tweet at us what you think the answer to our trivia question is. Of course, trivia this week is themed to Kangaroos, the mascot of the Akron University Zips, who are coming to town on Saturday to take on the Auburn Tigers. Trivia question for today and tomorrow if no one gets it. So send in your answers so we can get a new question. The trivia question, I'm sorry. It doesn't start with what. So the kangaroo is one of 5 animals that appears on the coat of arms of Australia, the land down under. If you can name just one of the other 4 animals that appear on the coat of arms of Australia, you will win a shout out on Compact Discourse, and you will earn another trivia question for the next day, also kangaroo related, so be sure to brush up on your trivia. Just a little hint for you. One of the other animals on the coat of arms was a combatant in a great war.
That was my guess.
Well, yeah, you and I watched the same YouTube video.
You're also on the show.
What? I didn't know the question beforehand. I've been thinking about this whole time.
All right. So, if you know an animal that took part in a great war with the people of Australia, that is another animal
that
on
they
the
lost.
coat of arms.
Shut up.
Who's they?
The Australians.
So if you want to, from all the hints you're getting, you may know it at this point. If you want to go ahead and guess what other animals are on the Australian coat of arms besides the kangaroo, go ahead and tweet at us at CDiscAU. Or if you have anything else to contribute to the show, whether that be a comment on the Brian Harson Stairs situation or a hurricane story, we'd love to hear you. So go ahead and tweet at us at CDiscAU. Get your opinion on the show. Questions, comments, concerns, all welcome at CDiscAU. All right, Alex, would you like to start? Or Davis?
I mean, we'll direct
Davis was
it
talking
the
about
other way
Grand Bay.
around.
Yeah, I was just talking about Grand Bay,
Go ahead,
literally
Davis.
right behind Dauphin Island. So I never really got any crazy. I don't have hurricane stories. Either like my house got swept away or it just rained a little bit. There's no in between for them.
Did your house ever get swept away?
No, it's rained a lot there though. My house is pretty good. We live on a hill, so everything goes down. But there was one time at the Christmas tree farm, it got super flooded. And then I rode a Polaris through it, and then it broke down. We got stuck in the rain. That's the biggest story I got.
That's a good one.
You're on a Christmas tree farm?
My family owns not my indirect. I mean, like my cousins own one. I used to work there, and it's literally
your kinfolk.
It's down the road. Everybody on my road, Ramsey Road, which is named after my family, they own it. Ramsey Christmas Tree Farms.
Careful giving out your home address.
They don't know my home address yet. There's a lot of Ramsey.
Davis
roads.
is the man that makes Mobile go. He's got a Christmas tree farm, and then he also works at the Zog. Truly.
Tune in tomorrow.
You just gave the name away, Alex, and we're supposed to know that.
Tune in tomorrow for Davis's social security number.
I was talking about that the other day. You can't.
All right. Nobody that's listening to this episode listened to that episode, so we're fine.
I wasn't even offer that episode. How was I supposed to know?
All right, guys. My mom's maiden name is.
What was the name of your first pet, Davis? I'm just curious.
I guess it was one of the cats, but I got my first pet as a dog.
What did Abby Davis?
No.
All right. Jack has a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Do you have a hurricane story?
I mean, I've got a lot.
What's the biggest?
It rained a lot and it flooded in Mobile, and then I couldn't get to school.
No,
that's all it's gonna be.
That's not really it. Like,
all right, what's the worst one you've lived through?
I mean, the worst one that I lived through would definitely be Hurricane Ivan, the one that was before Katrina.
The one. How about that you remember?
Yeah, I do, because we
What?
went.
You were like 3.
I remember it
No, he
because
wasn't.
we.
Shut up, Davis. Let him tell his story.
I was first of all, I
was in
was.
You're
04.
being annoying, Davis.
Yeah, no,
Let
I
him
mean,
tell his story.
I was almost 4, turned 3, but that one was a lot worse for the Mobile side of things. It didn't hit New Orleans as hard, so people don't remember it as much because obviously when any time a storm hits New Orleans, it's catastrophic. But that one gave a direct hit to Mobile in the Mobile area, and we went and stayed down at my aunt's house that was down the street because her house was higher than ours, and we walked back. Water was up to my waist as we walked through the street, and this huge tree that we had in our backyard was ripped out of the ground and teetering and basically was touching our roof, but it was still stuck in the middle of the ground, and it was there for like 3 weeks while me and my brother played in the massive hole in the ground, even though my mom thought there were snakes there. And eventually we got it ripped out and everything, but...
Those are the best kind. My grandma had a tree like that knocked over in a tornado where it just took the entire root ball out of the ground.
Yeah, it was crazy, and I mean that was probably the biggest one that I've seen. Obviously, of course, there have been other ones that I haven't been there and stuff's happened, especially at Dolphin Island again. Like, it was the entire island was basically underwater just like 2 days ago already, even though the storm had barely even begun. So those are always pretty bad, but that's because every storm at Dolphin Island is like catastrophic. They turn off the power anytime there's a lightning strike.
Yeah.
So.
Jack, you and I live from a very landlocked and high ground part of the state, being from Birmingham and Hoover, respectively. So we don't really have hurricane stories. I mean, we got, I think, severe storms from Ivan, but we didn't flood. Now, there is a local place that floods constantly that I think you would like to discuss, that I would like to discuss.
Okay, so if you live in the Highway 31 area in Birmingham, you know about the Diplomat Deli, but you probably also know about the Vestavia Bowl, which, despite its name, yes, it is a bowling place, but I think it's also in a physical bowl of concrete, because
it has to be.
When rain rains, the Vestavia Bowl suffers, considering every time any marginal amount of rain falls in the Birmingham area, this place becomes, as Alex is showing on his,
oh my goodness,
becomes a lake.
Third photo.
Of all the establishments you wouldn't want to flood, I think
alley, the wood
like
floors,
a paper factory,
a fireworks factory.
I think a bowling alley. There's a lot of underground mechanics going on in a bowling alley.
A lot of tubes that can just get filled with water. I have discussed making a gimmick Twitter account called Will the Vestavia Bowl Flood, and it just tweets yes if it's going to rain at all that day. But I haven't ever gotten around to making the bot, but I know it would take 30 minutes max. But, Birmingham people don't appreciate Twitter. That's the sad thing.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Wikipedia articles for all the Atlantic hurricane seasons, trying to see one that would have Barry.
Birmingham?
I don't remember Barry. I remember one knocked down a tree in our yard.
I've heard about Barry before.
That was 2008. In 2009.
I don't know. I don't think it's so far inland that most of them end up on the coast or something.
I mean,
they usually turn towards Georgia.
Right. I mean, there's not a lot
if they're gonna do it.
Hurricane action in Birmingham.
We get a lot of naders, but
that's a story for another day.
I'm just saying.
When we come back in the spring, we will have tornado chat.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Go ahead. You have an anecdote?
I mean, as I was remembering it, I still think the craziest thing is when Hurricane Ivan went through everything, went out to the Atlantic, and then came back around for a second go through. It literally made a U-turn and came back.
It wasn't done with Mobile.
I mean, evidently it was insane. I mean, that's
I want to make sure that tree was falling on your house.
I mean, honestly, that's just bizarre. Because even Katrina, as bad as it was, just went in a straight line and then call it a day. But
all right. Enough hurricane chat for now, but we might have some more on the other side of the break. I think Chris Tobias has peeked his head in the window, so he may be on for the second hour. Don't go anywhere. There's a lot of excitement still to come on Compact Discourse.
Unexpected reactions to smart financial decisions brought to you by feedthepig.org.
Well, I finally did it. I improved my credit score.
You're kidding, right?
No.
How are we supposed to be the bad boys of electro synth pop if you're out there being responsible? The band is about to be discovered. This is our year.
Yeah, you've been saying that for a while now.
You think anyone in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was worried about their credit score?
I never really thought that.
Of course they weren't. Rock stars aren't supposed to think about that kind of stuff. We're supposed to think about how many guitars we've smashed, write aggressively sensitive power ballads, start questionable fashion trends, tragically break up and blame creative differences.
All right. I thought maybe it was time to take control of my finances, Start using a budget, get out of debt, set some goals.
A budget? Debt? Set some goals? Listen, I knew that we'd have our creative differences, but I was hoping they'd involve a little more scandal.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Dave, what are you doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck as a gift to Dave 2037, so he can spend it on things like anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman, something cool like that. I think Dave 2037 deserves it. He worked hard. What are you getting Steve 2037?
I guess I was thinking Steve 2037 would just fend for himself.
Well, all right, but don't expect to be borrowing my anti-gravity boots.
You want to have money in your future? You got to start saving now. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Hey, let's just hope Steve 2037 doesn't get his hands on a cool time machine, because he is going to come back here and knock some sense into you.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
And welcome back to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM, WEGLFM.com, or broadcasting live on our Twitter or YouTube page. You can catch the replay on Eagle Eye TV, or you can check out the podcast wherever you get your podcasts, including Spotify, Apple, Google, and Transistor.fm. All right, let's jump right back into things, beginning with an exciting discussion, maybe a recurring segment if he keeps bringing exciting stuff to the table, of Davis's shirt. What are you wearing today, brother?
No. Okay, here I am. Today, I am wearing a floral pattern polo. It's kind of Hawaiian style, I guess you could say.
It's got the nice hibiscus action. Very
nice.
Compact Discourse of you.
It's very comfortable. I'm wearing it with some khaki shorts, a little on the short end. I'm getting used to them. But I got this from the America's Thrift Store in Auburn, the gigantic one near Tiger Town.
Inside the old Gander Mountain.
Yes. It still has the rocked like pillars outside.
The what?
It's pillars covered in like fake rocks.
Oh, I've never been to this place.
It's pretty cool. It's by the Home Depot.
It was kind of like
It's like just off the interstate.
it was like the Academy of Bass Pro Shops.
Oh.
If Dick's was Bass Pro Shops, this place was the Academy.
I gotcha.
And I got it for about $5. It's pretty comfortable, pretty nice and breathable. I like it.
That's a good party shirt. Thank you for wearing it.
What makes it a party shirt, Jack? What's your categories there?
It's whimsical.
Yes.
It's loose fitting. It looks good with the first few buttons undone. That's critical because it gets hot at the party.
Yes.
So thank you for coming to my party this morning here on Compact Discourse and bringing this cool shirt.
And I will be wearing another one tomorrow.
All right. So I hear Davis is on the hunt for a job.
Anybody hiring? I already applied for a job, so let's hope they'll like me.
So yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about what you can do about an on-campus job and experiences some of us have had with an on-campus job, not including this thing we love to do, so it's not a job here at WEGL.
So, do we want to lead these? Because I've had like 4 of these at this point.
I mean, yeah.
So go ahead, guys.
Vary the lead, Grayson, world traveler.
So I think my experience with these hasn't been necessarily the common experience. I feel like a lot of people end up on-campus deployment, especially if you're like somewhere in the library, where you get the job and then it's a lot of sit, and then every 20 minutes you get to answer a question, you do your homework and that sort of thing. I've done a lot of different stuff compared to that, but that seems to be the like common experience, you know. Davis, what was your experience like applying for one? What did you have to do this time?
Yesterday I was looking for a job like early in the morning. It's when like Auburn employment options. There's a lot of different things besides the library, and even in the library there's a few different options you can have. So I literally just went to AU employment, and then I just went to the library section, and I just found whatever I went apply, and I filled it all out. They needed like who I was, obviously, some stuff about me, like classes,
proof
major.
You're a student.
Yeah, proof I'm a student. They also, you can give it to them, like your past employment, which I did, which Alex just so ceremoniously gave up, me talking bad about them, gave their name out to everybody. I hope they don't listen to this.
They don't.
Also give them your GPA, I think.
Yeah, a lot of places like this have, even WEGL has a 2.5 minimum. So the school's primary thing is to keep you focused on school, and if your GPA drops too far, you will be fired to focus on school.
Oh my goodness.
That's just that's how it
intense,
is.
Davis.
I mean that's our rules here too. I
Welcome
can't let you on the
welcome
air
to the
if
real
you're under a
world.
2.5.
How 2.5?
I would get fired if I had a 2.5, and I'm the head of this thing.
Good thing I got a 2.6.
Cut the head off the snake.
It's very serious. I don't know. I've had one job at the library. I had sort of mixed reactions about it. I was good at it, but I wish I could have done more with it. I was sort of bored more than anything. But I mean, overall, not a bad experience. Very chill, very laid back. They tend to be pretty understanding of your schedule, which I feel like that's really the big benefit with on-campus employment is that they understand that you're a student and will mostly work around you because of that.
Yeah,
that's been my experience.
That job at the library was the Adobe help desk, right?
Yeah.
And is that still active?
As far as I know, yeah. I haven't heard anything to the contrary.
I saw a guy at it the other day.
Yeah, so
Okay.
they're still there.
So just as a PSA there, if you
Yeah,
need
if
help.
you need help with Adobe products, they have some pretty highly trained students who know what they're doing who will like happily help you.
Including formerly Grayson, who trains me on every Adobe product.
Yeah.
He shows me buttons I didn't know existed on the keyboard.
That's the fun part. I love when I get to teach people keyboard shortcuts. That's my favorite bit.
But when you do apply, there is a section where you really just fill out every day of the week what hours you can work.
Yeah.
And like I filled it out where like the times I want to be free, I'm free, and the times I am free to work, I have it set where I can work if they take me.
And I think the max you can have on campus employment is 20 between different jobs. Like I had 3 at the time that I was working there, which I had to fit into 20, not technically hours, but units, so to speak, because one job paid by the event and one was like a monthly stipend.
Is there like a minimum you can have? I know I have
As
a
far
friend
as
that's
I know,
working
there's
like
no
5 or 6 or something. I think.
It might depend on your supervisor. It depends on your department, but there's not a like university level minimum. There's only a university level maximum. It's just going to depend on what your job is and how it works.
Apply for a job if you're looking for one.
Yeah, it's a great place to work. I mean, I've had great experiences
do your
working on
homework.
campus, and they've worked around me even when I was working 18 hours I was going to class 18 hours and still working between all those places, and they were very accommodating, and it was easy to fit with my schedule. So
you might see me in the library, folks.
Yeah,
coming
exciting.
soon to the library.
I can't wait for them to bring up this recording during the job interview. Be like, you're disqualified just for saying that.
Is this something you find funny, Mr. Carroll?
No, please, I need a job. I need to pay for my shirt collection.
Have you had any new experiences with Tiger Dining, Alex? I know that's why we bring you on here, resident on-campus eater.
I'm glad that I have at least that purpose on the show. Nothing new, really. I mean, the edge is pretty great. I mean, one thing I have noticed, and Grayson, you said during the break, but it seems to me, based on just what it looks like, that Auburn is, at least in dining, is looking a bit understaffed due to the fact that I don't think they accounted for how much the edge would demand in terms of staff. For example, Foy had barely anybody. You had one or two people working the register, and then you had like 3 stations, each manned by only one person. The dish room was not that big. This place, the edge has 2 floors, 2 big dish rooms, 8 or 9 stations with 2 to 3 people sometimes at the places. And I think they're starting to see those effects with Steak and Shake not opening yet, and I'm assuming that's because they don't have people to man it. And Steak and Shake is one of the lower demand places on campus. I know people that really like it, but in terms of what it offers, I know it's on the lower end of demand. So that is something I've noticed, which, I mean, I'm sure it'll, work itself out once people start to apply to work and whatnot, because, once people get settled. But right now, it seems that they're dealing with a bit of a staff problem, just because, again, they expanded to a massive place.
Well, I can corroborate this just from the higher-ups and involvement from meeting with them, that just like everywhere else, we are having a bit of a staffing issue at Auburn in general. I mean, even outside of dining staff, just there are apparently a lot of roles within the university that aren't filled, and they're hiring a lot of things right now. But apparently they are specifically hurting in dining, and if it gets worse, places are going to get closed, staff are going to get relocated to different areas. I don't know what the priorities are. I don't think those are published, but that's where we're at right now. They are understaffed, though.
I would imagine, just based on thinking, that the edge would be one of their top priorities, because I don't think they could afford to say, here's our shiny new dining hall, and then it's already having its own problem, but even further. That I feel like that would have been something they wouldn't have wanted to allow, just because that you got to stick the landing when you unveil a new place, whatever it may be. So, but outside of that, I'm not sure what else they would do.
Yeah, and I'm seeing that at other places as well, because I mean, I go to ABP every morning to get a coffee, and it's staffed by one person effectively.
Yeah.
That whole place just has one cashier. So, we are seeing some run-on effects from the pandemic as the staffing continues to be an issue. So, I encourage everyone to please be patient with the university as they deal with this current issue. All right, well, I think that is just about going to do it for the first hour of Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM. I want to thank Grayson for joining me on this first hour of the show. We are going to replace him for the second hour with Mr. Chris Tobias, who, of course, is the DJ Spotlight of the week. Go to WEGL_AU on Instagram to check out what he has to say about his new show coming up, Cheetah Print. That's coming up on Wednesday, so get hype about that. You might just hear a familiar voice on that one with him. But other than that, this has been the first hour of Compact Discourse. I want to thank you so much for listening. Whether you're on WEGL 91.1 FM in your car or at home, you're WEGLFM.com on your phone or computer, or you're watching live right now on YouTube. Hello. We'll be right back for the second hour of Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM and at CDiscAU on Twitter. Don't go anywhere. The second hour is going to be even better than the first.
Okay, Simon, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. And what do people normally wear?
Clothes.
Exactly. So now Mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Clothes keep us warm, they look good, and if we go out without them, the neighbors will talk. So it's important to know how to get dressed. Here's how it's done. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole, or you have to start all over. If you're wearing a tie, it goes over, round, through, and pull tight. Tuck your shirt into your pants and zip up your fly. Socks going first, then shoes right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops. The rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears.
I love bunnies.
Good to know. Now remember, spots don't go with stripes, socks don't go with sandals, and if you've tucked in your shirt, wear a belt. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school? Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions? No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school? Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul. No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework. Home walk restaurant. Need a review? No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized. I think I understand. Good. Finding best potatoes for French fries. No! Russet. Fingerling. Yukon Gold. Why don't you understand me? Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
It's the top of the hour, about 9 a.m., and you're still listening to WEGL 91.1 FM. Well, you made it this far. Go get yourself a cup of coffee. You've earned it.
I really need a cup of joe, and if I don't get one, I think I might blow a gasket, and it's not a pretty sight.
We'll be right back in a few minutes with the second half of the show. Thank you so much for listening to Compact Discourse.
The skills you can develop as a soldier in the Army National Guard can give you an edge in the high-tech job market of tomorrow. The Guard offers career training to take advantage of your skills in science, technology, engineering, and math that can help give you a leg up to a high-paying and rewarding STEM profession. Gain practical experience with emerging technology and equipment not found in the civilian world. The Army National Guard can get you started in an array of STEM-related career fields such as information technology, communication systems, special forces engineers, technical engineering, air traffic control, and chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear science. Get a head start on your career in an exciting new field while earning money to pay for college, all while serving in your own community. Log on to nationalguard.com or talk to a recruiter in your area to learn about all of the STEM career opportunities available to you in the Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Want to help pull the plug on cyber terrorists? Or get the skills to work with satellites and other space technology? How about learning the avionics inside stealth fighters? And do you want to reach your goals fast? You can do it and take your life to the next level in the Air National Guard. Because you serve part-time, you do it in a way that works for you. You can achieve your career and educational goals with plenty of time for family and friends. The Air Guard offers nearly 200 career specialties, so you'll get the high-tech skills you need to kick your career into high gear. You can also be eligible for college tuition assistance. The best part is, in the Air Guard, you'll be making a real difference by serving your community and country. So get your future off the ground in the Air National Guard. Call the Alabama Air National Guard at 1-800-TOGOANG or visit goang.com/AL.
Welcome back to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM, WEGLFM.com, online at WEGL_AU on Twitter and Instagram, and you may just be watching live on YouTube on the WEGL FM YouTube page. You could be watching after the fact on Eagle Eye TV, so tune your channels to Channel 6 on campus to catch the replay of the show. And if you ever missed any part of the show, including the first hour, we talked hurricanes, we talked Brian Harsin taking the stairs, we talked COVID-19 update. You can go over to wherever you get your podcast. Spotify is my podcast place of choice, and just search for Compact Discourse and look for that CD logo. Speaking of CD, we have a new guest in the studio. That is DJ CD, Mr. Chris Tobias, joining us. He is the DJ Spotlight of the week. He is making his inaugural appearance on Compact Discourse. Mr. Tobias, how are we doing this morning?
There's so much fanfare. I'm doing great.
Awesome. And I'm still continuing to be joined by co-sports director Alex Houston and civilian Davis Carroll, wearing an awesome party shirt to this party I'm throwing here in the Harold Melton Student Center this fine Monday morning, where it is 77 degrees, partly cloudy in beautiful Auburn, Alabama, as we are expecting some rain later today. So don't leave the house without that mop or umbrella. All right. You guys ready to get back into it? I know we had our long 5-minute break to collect your feelings, and we are ready to jump right back into the show with our new guest, Mr. Tobias. Chris, I know you have a show coming up later this week on WEGL. High Voltage is no more, due to the departure of our dear friend Patrick Coleman.
Rest in peace.
Departure from Auburn, not his mortal coil, I may add. So what is Cheetah Print all about coming up this Wednesday at 8 p.m.?
So, yep. Cheetah Print is Wednesdays at 8 p.m. It is myself, and actually Jack here is my co-host, so he'll be with me. Again, every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Cheetah Print is going to be R&B, soul, funk, disco, hip-hop from the 60s all the way through today, and whatever in between. So it'll be a good time.
Awesome.
Fun party music.
And Chris and I are not the only ones with a show. Alex and Davis also have a show as well. So care to give a quick plug for what you guys are talking about on Through the Lens, TTL?
We are recording today at 12, but we're probably going to upload it around Friday, something like that.
Yeah, we still released it around that time. But today we're discussing Parasite, probably one of the best movies of recent years and probably the best foreign language movie ever. That debate, of course, could be had on that episode and stuff like that. But yeah, mainly discussing that movie. And going to be discussing a bit about Up, because something recently happened with the guy who played Carl on Up. Ed Asner actually passed away yesterday, so something about that at the beginning of the show. But yeah, mainly Parasite. So
if you like to hear Alex and I don't really argue much on Through the Lens.
We tend to agree so far, but maybe
argued on every episode I've been on, so maybe that's just
those are very contentious.
The Star Wars episodes were very tense because I was right and Davis was wrong.
See,
it's just
this is
I don't know.
It's gonna get me started right now.
Well, Davis was wrong a lot.
All right.
See, exactly.
I think
Chris remembers what you said about The Last Jedi.
I don't hate it. It's not that hot of a take.
So if you like this dynamic we have going on in the studio right now, be sure to go to the Through the Lens backlog and check out the Star Wars episodes that me and Chris had the privilege of being on. Or you can get excited about this Parasite and Up episode that's coming out later this week. You can go on Transistor and check that out, or however you may be listening to the Compact Discourse podcast. So without further ado, let's keep this discussion rolling. Let's talk sports, and let's talk some sports-adjacent topics, as I want to talk about this awesome drone show that the Oakland Athletics put on, Star Wars themed, if you can believe that. So how about that segue? A alternative to fireworks, I think it has been described as. You hear discourse about this every 4th of July, that fireworks are scary for dogs, so we should use drones instead. And I don't know, they might be onto something. This drone show was pretty cool. Have you guys seen any of this?
I did not. I'm pulling up the video right now.
All right,
so.
Why don't you share that with Chris while Davis and I kick off the discussion? So Davis, it was pretty cool.
It was pretty cool. a lot of programming had to go into that, I feel like.
I mean, you'd think that, but also at the same time, I feel like it's boiled down to a science where you can just kind of upload an image to the drone program and they go there anyway.
You think?
I mean,
I know people aren't driving it. I don't think that.
Obviously, yeah, but I don't think. I think the show gets like planned out beforehand on they can trace it, and then they hit a button and it transfers it into drone language, and then they just feed it to the drones. So basically, the drones form out pictures in the sky. I mean, they're LEDs, so they're obviously full color. Outlines of Yoda, the A's logo, anything Star Wars related. I thought the coolest effect they had was when they made the Death Star and then were able to, by moving the drones, make it look like a rotating sphere.
That was cool.
Even though it was technically a 2D wall of drones. So I don't know. I mean, if this is happening every night, or I know the Braves do fireworks every Friday night. If they replaced it with a Friday night drone show, I wouldn't be too upset about it. I mean, it's effectively the same thing, and it's a little quieter, and I think it syncs up with the music better.
But I feel like they might have to do a different one every week or every game. They can't do a Star Wars one every time. That get kind of, you know what I mean?
He has a good point.
Well, obviously they're not going to do Star Wars.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, but like they can't do the same. Oh, it's the Atlanta Braves logo in the sky.
Oakland is one of the birthplaces of Star Wars.
Atlanta Braves.
We were just talking about the Braves doing fireworks, so I was.
Did you know that the AT-AT walkers were based off the big cranes that haul shipping containers off the boats in the Oakland Harbor?
I learned.
I did not.
We were talking about.
Is that real?
That's real.
We were talking about AT-ATs in one of my classes the other day about a lawsuit about them.
And it all goes back to
pretty
Star
crazy.
Wars yet again.
All right. Initial reactions to that drone show in Oakland?
I mean, it seems cool. I mean, it certainly can be an alternative. I mean,
Alex being a contrarian.
It looked pretty sweet on the pictures and stuff.
Being a contrarian. I mean, yeah, I said it looked cool. What?
I thought you were about to have but
not
I
really.
Think we should
mean,
say
there's
with
not
fireworks.
I'll
really
be the
care.
contrarian. It looks pretty sweet, and they can do a lot of cool like 3D graphics and stuff. But fireworks, they got that pop,
the boom.
The thing that scares the dogs is what makes the people happy.
What if it scares the people?
Don't go watch
anything
fireworks.
for Chris's happiness.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Fireworks are also less susceptible to like an EMP blast, I think.
When's an EMP blast gonna happen during a drone show?
We're doing pros and cons here. I'm just trying.
Yes,
to think.
The first sign of an attack from a foreign country is when the A's drone show gets shut down. We know
say that.
That'd be a good movie.
But it might happen.
Write that down. That'd be good for a movie.
That'd be like
yeah,
the
it's
main
called Red
characters
Dawn,
at the A's
Davis.
game,
Grow up.
and
Red
the
Dawn.
EMP
What?
goes off and the drones all fall on the field.
I cannot wait.
I'm talking about a shot, not a movie concept.
For Moneyball 2.
It's like the Dark Knight Rises scene where the football field blows up.
And it was Hines Ward.
It was Hines Ward. It was the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Don't forget Ben Roethlisberger was there.
Yeah, they all died except
wonderful.
for Hines Ward.
Hines Ward scored a touchdown.
He outran the explosion.
Yeah, he
Hines,
actually did.
that might be a preview for my shirt tomorrow.
Hines Ward is the best football player of all time because he outran the explosion. Hot take.
He's also the only football player left in that movie.
He plays
That
for
is
the
true.
Gotham. What's the team?
It's the Gotham. It's like the Gotham.
It's like the Black Knights or something?
Yeah, it's like the Gotham Knights versus Rapid City something. I don't know. It's not good. Is the point?
It was pretty good. People hate on The Dark Knight Rises because it followed up one of the greatest superhero movies and movies in general of all time,
Good take
The
by
Dark
Chris.
Knight. But Dark Knight Rises is good. Has its moments. It's not as good, but that's the point, you know? Or it's not the point, but that's like why people
To
don't
be
like it.
expected.
Yeah,
I would
it's to
say,
be
yeah.
expected. Thank you.
All right, so let's move on and talk about these New York Mets.
Oh my gosh!
And what is
This
happening
funny.
in Queens, as it appears that while the Mets fans turned on the players quite quickly, and that's nothing new, it's New York, but it seems that the players are now fighting back and have turned on the fans. So Pete Alonso and Lindor are among the players who have taken part in this bit of civil disobedience, I think is the best term for it, as when they do something well, they're booing the fans.
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, it's just funny. I mean, like really,
Like,
I mean,
known funny team, the Mets, strikes again.
because the fans boo the Mets because they suck, right? And then the Mets players are like, "How dare you say that we're bad even though we are? So we're gonna boo you." And then the Mets president is like, it's well within our fans' right to do whatever the heck they
It's
want.
not that they're bad. It's just they're disappointing. They are a decent team that just can't get it done. Jacob DeGrom's been out half the freaking year.
No, I mean, again, like that's.
I like them booing the fans. I'll say it.
Hey, to quote Spider-Man, you mess with one of us.
You mess with all of us.
This is New York.
I mean, like, it's just so odd to me because it, like, the fans, I mean, it's never been done before that I can recall. People will go in the press and be like, wow, fans are very fickle and whatever, which is fair and true, but throwing a thumbs down at the fan after you hit a home run seems to be an odd thing to do. But,
Listen,
I mean,
just give them a taste of their own medicine.
The fans.
If they don't like them, they don't like the fans.
You got to defend the fans, man, because as someone who's a Panthers fan and an Auburn Tigers fan, it's a lot worse to be disappointing than just be downright bad.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we're not, as Panthers fans.
You can't just
three
keep
of us
on sucking and then get mad at the fans when they hate you.
It's not that the Mets don't even suck that bad.
No, but okay.
They're not winning anything.
Let me give an example.
Winning.
Let me give an example. Okay, so your point is that the Mets are not bad; they're just disappointing.
It's different because same thing in Philadelphia. The Philadelphia. What you want me to? How am I supposed
You
to
misspelled
say
a
it?
word. Your
Philadelphia, not
argument's invalid.
Philadelphia.
What? Listen, Philly fans are the same way. Even if their team's good, they hate their team. Am I incorrect here?
But the
Good, keeps them tough.
The Mets are not good. They're 4 games below 500 in a league where you should not be below 500 if you want to be considered good.
Yeah, so to contextualize this, the Mets had a pretty commanding lead over the NL East for the most of the season until the All-Star break, and only after the All-Star break did the Braves and the Phillies begin to overcome a little bit of adversity themselves. As a Braves fan, I have a little bit of extra knowledge of that. The Braves really were underperforming and now have finally hit their stride and now have control over the division. The Mets are now 7.5 games back after leading the division for 4 months. So I can see where the frustration is coming from.
And I mean, like, you know, if that argument can be made, Davis, was it wrong for any Auburn fans to boo at any time?
I'm not saying the fans can't boo. They have a right to be disappointed, but when even their team does something good and they keep booing, I feel like the players also have a right to be frustrated with the fans.
But that's not what even they're saying is happening.
Like, they say when we do something good, we are going to boo the fans because that's what they said.
No, but Javier Baez's thing is just because they boo us when we do something bad, so
we're going to boo them when we do something good because they keep booing them.
But the point is not the Mets do not boo. Mets fans do not boo them when they do something good.
Yes, they do. You
not
ever watched a Mets game?
I mean, not really.
They boo them all the time.
That's not what Baez was saying in his point.
I'm sorry, but
what?
The Mets' reaction to this just sounds like a bunch of like angry toddlers saying, if you can do it, we can do it too.
It is the Mets. All right. So we are going to go ahead to a quick break, and when we get back, we are going to continue baseball chat. I do want to remind you that the trivia question is still pending. If you think you know the answer to the trivia question, tweet us at CDiscAU. That question, once again, is the kangaroo is one of 5 animals that appear on the Australian coat of arms. If you think you can name one of the other 4 animals, including one that engaged in a war with the people of Australia, go ahead and tweet at us at CDiscAU.
Don't say it, Chris.
And you will win a brand new shiny shout-out on the show. We will be right back to Compact Discourse on WEGLFM.com, WEGL 91.1 FM, and live on YouTube.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
El que Sanyu no cobra ni un centavo para nosotros significa quitarnos todo ese estrés, esa preocupación y podernos enfocar en nuestra hija.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When St. Jude told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. I help people solve difficult and trying personal problems every day on my TV show, but there's one problem that's just got me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. That's 1 in 5 kids who may not know where their next meal is coming from, despite the fact that there's more than enough healthy, nutritious food out there to feed them all. Now, I don't know about you, but that is unacceptable to me. Luckily, the Feeding America network of good people is out there collecting surplus food and giving hope to hungry children and their families at local food banks all across the country. But let's face it, they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
And welcome back to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM, WEGLFM.com, or Eagle Eye TV and YouTube, where you can see our beautiful smiling faces as we are now live in living color on Compact Discourse, broadcasting live from the WEGL studios as I have our high cam up. If you want to wave hello up to the cam up top. Beautiful smiling faces from all of our co-hosts this morning. Of course, I'm joined by co-sports director Alex Houston, DJ CD Chris Tobias, and a colorful shirt wearer Davis Carroll. Welcome into the show. We are continuing our discussion about baseball, including the athletics drone show alternative to fireworks, as well as the Mets players now turning on the fans in, I always want to say Shea Stadium, but I know it's Citi Field up in Queens. So to contextualize our baseball discussion, we're going to run through the scoreboard real quick. Games from yesterday. Here are your scores from August 29th, 2021. The Phillies beat the Diamondbacks 7-4. The Pirates beat the Cardinals at home 4-3. The Tampa Bay Rays, in an offensive explosion, take care of the Orioles in Camden 12-8. The baseball team from Cleveland beats the Red Sox 7-5. The Mariners win the Marlins win a scrappy one against the Reds 2-1. Blue Jays double up against the Tigers 2-1 in Detroit. The Mets all over the Nats 9-4. The Atlanta Braves shut out the NL West leading Giants 9-0 at home. Great win for the Braves. In the Battle of the Windy City, the White Sox all over the Cubs 13-1. The Brewers extend their division lead 6-2 over the Twins of Minnesota. The Texas Rangers destroy the Astros 13-2. And the Rockies are out in the Chavez Ravine where they blank the Dodgers 5-0. The Mariners squeak by the Royals 4-3. And in your nightcap for last night, the Athletics take care of the Yankees 3-1. So those are your current scores to wrap up those weekend series, those fun Sunday games in Major League Baseball. So we're talking about the Mets.
I mean, it's just...
I think the Mets have completely blown this season.
I think the Mets had it too good for too long. As a Braves fan, the Braves had their own problems of not being able to get to 500. We're always nipping at the Mets' heels, who seem to keep winning just based off their pitching alone. I think the Mets have never had a positive run differential so far this season. They've been skirting by just on great pitching, which, I mean, props to them. That's how you win. That's how you win in baseball. It's great pitching, but they seem to be playing above their pay grade, for lack of a better term, and it seems that just reality has finally caught up with the Mets, and that's why you play 162 games, so the random variables can kind of shake themselves out of the season.
I think if DeGrom was still playing, it'd be a different season for him because they lost their best pitcher, who was leading in Cy Young voting until he went out for a while.
I mean, he had a sub-1 ERA. He was leading by a country mile.
That was crazy. Currently it's standing at 1.08 after I think he had one game where he kind of got a little hurt in it, but 1.08 is still insane. Don't get me wrong. I remember early in the season it was like 0.59, and every other day there was another post about how it kept getting lower. But this is the first season he was 7-2 win-loss record, which is pretty unusual for him because in the past years he'd be having like 10-9, 11-8 because he was the Mets pitcher. The offense wasn't backing him up even though he was pitching insane every game. I mean, it's pretty obvious to say, but I think if he was still playing for him, it'd be a different season for the Mets.
But
uncontroversial take.
Yeah, the Mets always find a way to mess their season up, and that's just how it goes in Queens. All right, your quick update on pennant chases as we are looking at across Major League Baseball. In the American League East, the Tampa Bay Rays are still on top of the division. They have a commanding 6-game lead over the second-place New York Yankees. The Red Sox are just 2 games behind the Bronx Bombers. In the Central, same old story. Indians sitting at 500 with the White Sox 10 games on top of them. Out west, it's the Astros with a 5.5-game lead over the Athletics. The Mariners have once again slid to third place as they sit 2 games behind the A's. Moving over to the American League and those New York Mets, they sit at 63 and 77, which is good for 7.5 games back of the Atlanta Braves, who sit at 70 and 59 after that big win against San Francisco on top of the division. Milwaukee is sitting way in front in the NL Central. They're ahead of Cincinnati 8.5 games, with St. Louis 3.5 games behind Cincinnati. And then out west, it continues to be a fight for the crown as the Giants are now still 2.5 games ahead of the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the Padres sitting at a distant third, 13 games behind Los Dodgers. The Giants are at 84 and 46. That is good for the best record in baseball, the Tampa Bay Rays, with the second best record in baseball with 82 and 48. So that is a quick update on the pennant chases, what is going on around the horn in Major League Baseball. Are there any other Major League Baseball storylines you guys want to get to? Obviously, I want to drop that it's huge that the Braves were able to win against the Giants, NL West leading Giants, and presumptive number 1 seed Giants this weekend. It proves that this Atlanta Braves team has the power and the pitching to take on the best of the National League. So that made me very enthused. It kind of reminded me of back 2 years ago when the Braves were able to handle the Los Angeles Dodgers pretty handily in a series in Truist Park. So it gives me a lot of enthusiasm for the postseason. How are you guys feeling about the MLB this over the weekend?
While you were talking about that, I got a notification from MLB about the power rankings they just released, if you want to go over that real quick. The top 5.
Yeah, let's look at the top 5.
All right, I'll start from 5. 5 being the Yankees.
Good take. The Yankees who struggled mightily through in the beginning of the season, and then were able to rattle off did it get up to 13-game win streak
lost
before
to the A's.
Running into the Athletics?
I'm not really sure how the Yankees turned it around so quick. I guess you could say maybe the trades, but even the pieces that they traded for really haven't been playing phenomenal.
It was more of the team underperforming the first half of the season, whether that be just underperforming or injuries. The Yankees have so much talent; they should be leading the division. It's just they're just taking them a while to catch up to their potential.
Next up, we have the Houston Astros, red-hot offense at number 4.
Okay, I mean
they're not cheating anymore, allegedly.
I mean, they've won 77 games, so like by wins they are the second best team in the American League. Like, I mean, I understand that they might, it's one of those things where wins don't automatically equal, which is the better team. And that can be the case in this regard, but I mean,
they are arguably the best. I'd say they are the best offense in the MLB right now.
I mean, from 1 to 9, they have the best offensive rotation in the game right now.
Yeah, so I think that's fair.
At number 3, Chris, you're gonna like this one. We have the Tampa Bay Rays.
W.
Even without Tyler Glass, now they're number 3. Their best pitcher, still out if I remember correctly, out for the season because of an arm injury.
They're just finding a way to win. They're hustling.
I like this team. It's a fun team.
They have a great offense.
Number 2, we have Los Dodgers, as you said.
Dodgers.
Wow, Davis.
Oh, sorry, Alex. Sorry, Mr. Negative over there.
You were never mind.
And number 1 is obviously the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah.
Who else would it be but them? They did move up a spot from last week. The Dodgers were 1 in the last week's power rankings. The Giants have moved up, playing phenomenal. Kind of really unexpected team to be the best. Arguably, I'd say they are the best team right now in the MLB.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's great to see that rivalry renewed between the Giants and Dodgers. It's one of the league's better rivalries, and it's great to see those games have meaning again after the Giants have been in the basement since they won their pennant back in 2014.
Another side effect of it, it's good to see Evan Longoria playing good again, having some good play time. Now third baseman for the Giants, playing pretty good.
And I will say, just you asked like any like things going into as the rest of the season. As a not super huge baseball fan, one thing I can say is that this season has been very unpredictable with a lot of teams. I mean, you just look at the Mets, who started out hot, and then the opposite, and then the Yankees and whatnot. So I think it's just going to make for a very exciting postseason because despite where these teams may lie in the standings, anything could change up like that, and I think it'll make for a very exciting postseason this year.
Yeah, we have a potential to see a A's Astros postseason matchup. We have a potential to see a Red Sox Yankees postseason matchup in a wild card game, which would be an electric atmosphere.
Yeah, exactly.
And we have very high potential to see the if the NLCS being the Dodgers and the Giants. And I'd love to see those teams go toe to toe for 7 games.
Yeah.
That's a playoff atmosphere that we haven't seen in the better part of a decade. Both of those teams being good, and that's an underrated rivalry in the MLB. It obviously gets overshadowed by Yankees Sox, but the one out west is just as exciting. So that is your MLB update. We're going to move on to things that people know about now. But first, I am going to plug the WEGL social media. That's at WEGL_AU on Twitter and Instagram. You're going to want to check that out, especially Instagram, where we are now have daily content. Our marketing director, Aaron, is putting in a lot of hard work to provide content for you, the listener, the viewer, the fan of WEGL. Go ahead and check that out. Daily post, Monday through Friday, starting today, starting with a spotlight of Chris Tobias, which is going to come out later this afternoon.
Ruh-roh.
I heard you got interviewed? It's
did.
very official. How did that go?
Went pretty well. Did it over FaceTime while I was in quarantine. Yes, that's why the first episode of Cheetah Print was not last Wednesday, was because old Chris here got the COVID. But I'm good. I'm approved to be back on campus, clearly, as I'm here right now. So the first episode is going to be this Wednesday. Pretty excited about that.
Awesome. So yeah, be sure to go to at WEGL_AU to check that one out. Check out that DJ Spotlight as a little bit of a tease to get ready for Cheetah Print this Wednesday. All right, trivia question still pending. Let me double check. Yep, still pending at CDiscAU. That's at CDISCAU. If you want to tweet at us your answer to the trivia question, which is, get this, Auburn University Tigers take on the Akron University Zips, whose mascot is a kangaroo, coming up on Saturday. So kangaroo trivia all week long. The kangaroo is one of 5 animals to appear on the Australian coat of arms alongside 4 other animals. If you can name any of those 4 animals, and I'll give you a hint, one of them is a flightless bird.
Whoa.
And 2 of them are flighted birds that can fly. So if you want to take a stab at which of those birds are on the Australian coat of arms, go ahead and send us a tweet at CDiscAU. That's at CDISCAU. Get your answer on the show and get a shout-out on Auburn's #1 student-run morning show. We're going to be right back after these messages. Don't go anywhere for the final 30 minutes of Compact Discourse. Welcome back to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1. Thank you for being patient with us as we deal with technical difficulties here in the studio. But on with the show. Show must go on. And we are continuing to talk about all things Auburn, all things student lifestyle. We just finished up our discussion about baseball. So if you want to hear what we had to say about MLB, go ahead and check out the podcast. That is available wherever you hear your podcast. Usually gets uploaded around noon every day. There is a show, so be sure to check that one out. My player of choice is Spotify, but however you want to hear it, that is fine too. Also, if you're watching live on YouTube, we thank you for tuning in that way, and you can go ahead and check out that replay on Eagle Eye TV. That's channel 6 if you're on campus. All right, so we are moving swiftly along to a new topic that Alex has brought to my attention. But before that, I do want to remind everybody of our trivia question about Kangaroos, as we are excited to play the Akron Zips in the home opener this weekend as the Auburn Tigers take on Akron in their whiteout game. The kangaroo is one of 5 animals to appear on the Australian coat of arms. If you can name any of the other 4, including 3 that are birds, 1 being flightless, 2 that can fly, 1 engaged in a great war with the people of Australia after World War II, and the birds won, believe it or not. So if you want Davis to elaborate on that fact, you can answer correctly the trivia question by tweeting at us at CDISCAU. I'm sure everyone who is about to do it now is not going to because they don't want to hear Davis. But
Wow. Come on.
Coming right back from that, I want to pass the mic to Alex, and he's going to tell us about a quick Hurricane Ida update.
Well, so there's this video going around of this huge store. I'm not sure if it's a Walmart. I'm difficult to say what it is, but everything is cleared out 'cause it's in Louisiana, except all the Anthony Davis Ruffle bags are still there. That and Dasani clearly nobody wants in the state of Louisiana as it currently stands. So I thought that was kind of funny because I didn't believe that would actually happen. Like, I mean, I feel like, you're just going to take whatever you can get. But everything else was cleared out except for the Anthony Davis Ruffles. Clearly, still some bad blood between the city of New Orleans and their former power forward. But yeah,
If they wanted to keep him, they should have done more for him.
what?
Just saying.
The citizens of New Orleans couldn't really do anything.
Yeah, obviously, but I'm talking about the team.
I mean,
They should be mad at the team, not really him. That's what I'll say.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
Are they Anthony Davis Pelicans Ruffles or Anthony Davis Lakers Ruffles?
Lakers Ruffles, which makes it bad.
If
I see.
If you want to get some Anthony, you go to a Pelicans game, you get some half off Anthony Davis merch.
You probably go to like any Marshalls in New Orleans and get
Yeah.
like a $2 Anthony Davis jersey that would have been 95 years ago.
That's the trick. You just
They
wait
are-
till they get traded.
They are lime and jalapeno flavored.
Yeah, that's probably why they didn't get him, honestly.
I don't know. I feel like that flavor is probably pretty good.
I like lime chips. You know those Lay's hint of lime?
Yeah.
Ooh,
those
yes.
are good.
Those are good. Or the Tostitos. Little guac, little hint of lime.
Those are good
A little
chips.
salty, but you can brush it off.
I don't know. I think the Flamin' Hot Barbecue with Jason Tatum is probably the best NBA Ruffle.
I
so
think I'd
far.
grab that over
Yeah, exactly,
Anthony Davis.
exactly.
But, I mean, any port in a storm. Literally.
Which NBA star has the pickle chips? His pickle chips are pretty good. I don't know. Someone should hop on that.
What?
Get Alex Caruso on the pickle chips.
Oh my gosh.
Kyle Kuzma pickle chips.
Stop.
I'm about to do some research on all NBA chips.
All right. And while Davis looks that up, we do want to give you your quick Auburn, Alabama weather report. Of course, we are continuing to track Hurricane Ida, which is moving throughout the southeast, although it is now a tropical storm, and the worst of it has passed. So recovery is going to begin in Louisiana and Mississippi. I believe President Biden is deploying FEMA there this afternoon to go take a look at the damage in the New Orleans area around, and of course, all of Mississippi and Louisiana. Thoughts and prayers with everyone affected by Hurricane Ida, as it appears to be probably the worst storm of the season so far. So praying that it remains with that notorious title. But right now in Auburn, Alabama, it is currently 79 degrees and partly cloudy. Your high of 84, low of 72 today, just about what it's been every day for the past 2 weeks. But we are currently under a wind advisory, I believe, a run-on effect from Hurricane Ida, and that's going to continue until this afternoon. There's an 11% chance of rain right now. It's going to go up to a 24% chance of rain come this afternoon as the clouds continue to roll in. This evening, it's going to cool off, but that's going to bring some rain as well as there is a 52% chance of rain, and there's going to be plenty of scattered thunderstorms this afternoon. So bring that raincoat if you're making your way onto campus. Overnight temperature is going to be 74 degrees and rainy. So, like I said, put your plants outside if you have house plants. And we're looking at the path of Hurricane Ida. It's right now currently in the southwest corner of Mississippi. Looks like it's curling up to the northeast corner of Mississippi. It's going to cross over Huntsville, across Tennessee, and into West Virginia, where it's going to peel back out over the DMV into the Atlantic. So, still dealing with some pretty severe thunderstorms across the southeast as the wind and rain persists from Tropical Storm Ida. All right, winds at 45 miles per hour. Wow. Okay, what's next?
I saw something about weather as well.
Never mind.
If you want to say your thing, you can.
No, you go
It's
ahead.
not about hurricanes or anything. It's about the winter season.
You go first, Davis.
Apparently, something of
Is this like a get hype for winter post?
No, it was. I
Or
saw
is
it on
it like
TikTok. I'm gonna
this
do
might
some
be
more.
day after
Alex,
tomorrow?
say your thing first. I want to do some more. I want to make sure this is
So
real first.
I would recommend most of you go on to Twitter and just type in Trent Dilfer's last name to see the clip of him yelling and shoving a high school player basically off the sideline to its own separate bench and yelling at the player. And I mean, he released his apology. It's not super egregious as far as high school coaches go, because we've seen worse. But
Okay, remind me who Trent Dilfer is.
Trent Dilfer is former Super Bowl winning Ravens quarterback, arguably the worst
Oh.
quarterback to ever win a.
Was this 99 Ravens?
The
It
one
was
with
the
where
good-
they beat the Giants.
The good defense.
Yes,
Ravens.
and he was not very good. He's probably the worst quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl. He also has the very famous take, the New England Patriots, let's face it, they're not good anymore in 2014, which, well, they won like 3 more Super Bowls after that. And now he's apparently coaching high school. He saw Phillip Rivers and wanted to get a taste of that. And a lot of people are basically defending it, saying, quote, oh, that's not even half as bad as blah, 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 what I faced when I was younger, which I don't feel like is a valid justification.
Yeah, I think you just had a really mean coach.
Like just because something happened to you doesn't make it automatically right. Like,
Yeah.
and this permeates in so many different things within like American culture in general, not just in football. But like, it's like, oh, my coach did this, this, and this to me, so this isn't even that bad. Well, that doesn't mean that what was done to you wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It's just like the same thing as like, people are like, there was one thing that happened like last year where this journalist went on Twitter and said, everybody complaining about like unpaid internships, it's just like a rite of passage to do an unpaid internship. And I can do it because my parents support me. But like people who are supporting themselves cannot afford to do that. Like legitimately. And like this is the same thing where it's like people just believe something's a rite of passage or it's just part of what we have to experience just because it happened.
All right, Alex, I'm going to say something. I'm going to
Uh-oh.
let you breathe there for a second.
Sorry, yeah, I was breathing.
Okay, my opinion on it. I'll get Chris and Jax here in a second, too. I think coaches should have a little bit of toughness on their players, but there is a limit to it. They shouldn't treat you like – they should still treat you like people. It should be
And more
like,
importantly, like
hey, you need to
kids.
work hard. I know you're trying hard, but you can still do more, not yanking them over there and screaming in their face.
Yeah.
It's not the NFL. He's not getting paid to do this. He just came from algebra class. Go a little bit easier on him.
Wasn't the kid like talking back and stuff?
He well, I mean, like he should. Like I'm not saying he shouldn't get in trouble.
A little
that's
shove and then telling him to sit down on the bench.
That's different.
Isn't bad.
He didn't do that. He dragged him over.
I was about
and
to say
he
he
was
grabbed
screaming
him by
in
his shoulder
face.
pads and backed him down about 15
Yeah.
yards, and the video only shows.
I mean, like, I'm fine with like a little.
Call
bit
me
of
crazy. I
confrontation.
still don't think that's bad. I mean,
I think
he's not.
I think
hitting him, laying his hands on him in any way. It's.
I
I
mean,
mean,
it's-
say you want. He just came from algebra.
If he grabs his
class,
shoulder
but it's
pads, are his hands not
football.
on him?
as he's talking about like.
I mean,
actually
like-
hitting
I
him.
see. Okay, I see.
I just, if you want to say like, maybe not in the game, tell him to go move away from the sideline, sit on the bench, and then when practice comes along, the following week, just make him run till he pukes. Like coaches can do that. It's building discipline. He wants to act up. Think he's a star player. Then
You think the kid's going to do it again?
not if he throws up at practice.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm
I
just
mean,
saying.
I think-
Sometimes you need a little tough love. You can't go
Yeah,
easy
I
on
agree- I
people,
can agree
whether
with
they're in
that.
high school or not.
But
That's
there's
like
some
the building
coaches-
blocks of life.
There are some coaches that take it too seriously. They act like they're
Oh,
forming
100%.
an NFL team when it's a high
100%.
school team that's not going to even compete for the playoffs. I mean, you should still work the players, obviously, but you shouldn't work them so hard that they die.
You can definitely take it too far, like where you're having players train like they're in the NFL. Yeah, that's not right. But then when you're in an environment like high school where these kids are learning and stuff, you need to enforce some sort of discipline to help them learn. It's less punishing them to become a Super Bowl contending team and more teaching them to become good individuals with good traits.
It's fair. There's a limit to it, though. I think we all agree on that.
Yeah.
That's the end of that conversation.
That my bigger thing was just with people like defending it as quote, oh well, that's just something that's like, I saw so much
my
worse
coach punched me in the face. This is easy for him.
Exactly. Like
I think you had an issue there.
I think if they all said what Chris said, that's an entirely different point. But everyone's like, oh, it's just part of life. Just and it was always so much worse, and it could have been worse, and it should have. And I was like, wait a minute, maybe not.
Let me say, no adult should be putting their hands on a child through in like where any sort of violence is involved. Whether it's athletics or not. So if he was like hitting the kid and whatnot, that's obviously not right. But as a position of authority as a coach, you can be a bit more nonchalant about it and then use that authority to help them learn in a better way than putting your hands on them.
I just think, and this is in Dilfer's apology, is that, that's something that you could have done outside of making a huge scene on the sideline in the game. I don't know. That's at least what he said in his own apology. I don't know if that's just because people got in his neck about it, but like what you said about making them run at practice the next time or whatever, something like that. I feel like that'd be a better than just the player talks back or whatever, which is apparently what happened, but nobody really knows what the player did, and then immediately just exploding on the guy and making this whole thing in the middle of. Because one, I think that's also not a great way that I don't think players and people in general are very receptive when you're just ostracized in front of a lot of people because they're not hearing what you're saying.
That's the thing. It's one of the core principles of leadership is that you praise in public and you correct in privacy.
Exactly.
So if he was being all emotional on the sideline, either the kid did something really bad or he was just taking this high school football game way serious.
No, exactly.
Which happens a lot.
That's what it was. Like, I don't think it would have been bad to have done whatever in, not in front of the entire full stadium and the team, just because, again, in regards to getting a player to be receptive, they're not caring what you're saying at a certain point. They're worried that everybody's seeing it. And then at the end of the day, you don't get your message across. But
well, good discussion here on Compact Discourse. We're going to come back for one more final segment where we're going to talk campus news, what's coming up later in the show, later in the week, and we might even do Hat of the Day. Don't go anywhere. Compact Discourse.
Unexpected reactions to smart financial decisions brought to you by feedthepig.org.
Well, I finally did it. I improved my credit score.
You're kidding, right?
No.
How are we supposed to be the bad boys of electro-synth pop if you're out there being responsible? The band is about to be discovered. This is our year.
Yeah, you've been saying that for a while now.
You think anyone in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was worried about their credit score?
I never really thought that.
Of course they weren't. Rock stars aren't supposed to think about that kind of stuff. We're supposed to think about how many guitars we've smashed, write aggressively sensitive power ballads, start questionable fashion trends, tragically break up and blame creative differences.
All right. I thought maybe it was time to take control of my finances, Start using a budget, get out of debt, set some goals.
A budget? Debt? Set some goals? Listen, I knew that we'd have our creative differences, but I was hoping they'd involve a little more scandal.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Dave, what are you doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck as a gift to Dave 2037, so he can spend it on things like anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman, something cool like that. I think Dave 2037 deserves it. He worked hard. What are you getting Steve 2037?
I guess I was thinking Steve 2037 would just fend for himself.
Well, all right, but don't expect to be borrowing my anti-gravity boots.
You want to have money in your future? You got to start saving now. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Hey, let's just hope Steve 2037 doesn't get his hands on a cold time machine, because he is going to come back here and knock some sense into you.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
And welcome back to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM, WEGL FM EagleEye.com. If you're watching live on YouTube, hello and good morning. And if you're watching the replay on Eagle Eye TV, good afternoon. This is our final segment of Compact Discourse for Monday, but we will be back tomorrow at 8 a.m., so you aren't going to want to miss that. But let's have a little more fun before we have to get out of here today. I am joined by Davis Carroll and Chris DeBias. Alex Houston had to hit the road, so now I'm going to hit the 3-host button. Perfect.
Boom.
All right, we are rolling with 3 hosts now as we lost a man to the trials and trepidations of what it's like to be a student, had to go to class. All right, moving right along. In the break, it was brought to my attention that the NBA season is now starting in December. Ooh. All right, that means no more sports equinox. If you don't know what that is a beautiful day in October when all the big four leagues, that is baseball, hockey, football, and basketball, all play a game at the same time. It's usually on a Thursday because that's when things tend to shake out, but that seems to be no more as the NBA has pushed the season to after the winter holidays.
Not a fan. I'm not a fan. I'll be honest. Christmas for the NBA is like Thanksgiving for football. It's about the midpoint of the season. You got a bunch of exciting matchups. Who can forget stuff like the Cavs and Warriors a couple years back? Kyrie Irving hitting the game winner with a couple seconds left. You're not really going to have those moments. I mean, you will because there'll still be Christmas games, but it just won't have the same implication of these teams already being well established. So not a fan of the move, but, I get it, I suppose. Davis, what do you think?
I'm doing some research because it might not actually start in December.
Oh?
It said something. The first thing I looked up, it said December, but now I'm doing some research.
Are you sure that wasn't last season? Has your bad tip negated our conversation?
The 2021-2022 season will begin on October 19th, 2021.
Okay, it's a little better.
But I know they did have plans to start in December. And I think they just did that for COVID. I thought they were going to try to do that permanently.
All right, that's how you get yourself in a good mood, is get mad about a problem that doesn't exist. And now you just been a weight has been lifted off your
chest. I take back everything I say. October 19th.
Congratulations, Adam Silver. You made the right decision.
And it ends on April 10th.
Can't wait to watch my Charlotte Hornets win it all.
They're back to their regular schedule. I think COVID just kind of threw it off. And I thought I'd read things that they were going to try to permanently move it to December as a start. But I think they just had a shortened off season.
Well, the good news is you didn't make anyone look silly by making them start a segment with it. All right. Moving swiftly along to one of my favorite segments. We are getting ready to begin here on Compact Discourse. It's
Whoa! Yankee with no brim!
Hat of the Day, which I'm happy to provide for you. For those watching on the video broadcast, get ready to check this one out. For those not watching on video, go ahead and head over to our YouTube page or check it out on Eagle Eye later in the day when you get the chance, because you aren't going to want to miss this exciting segment. All right, guys, you ready for this?
Yes.
100%.
This hat is an Auburn hat, vintage. I got it at the Atelier, which is, I know of the three of us, one of our favorite retail locations here in Auburn, Alabama. It is white with a blue brim, orange underbrim, which I like, all 3 colors. It's got this great serif font with Auburn. I mean, you haven't seen that since the Chris Porter basketball jerseys back in the day. So this is probably from that era. It was previously owned by somebody named Rebecca Lakin. So if this hat ever gets lost, I'm probably not going to find it as it gets sent to her. And then something I've been noticing on the video feed is that when I turn to the left, you can check out this awesome vintage Auburn logo found on the side. So pretty happy with this hat. It might be a game day hat coming up this Saturday, as it is a white out, and this is a beautiful white Auburn hat. So that is your Compact Discourse hat of the day.
Compact Discourse kind of like a fashion show.
Yeah, we had shirt of the day from Davis, his thrifted party shirt. Chris is wearing a pretty cool game day polo today, and you've just been served up a hat of the day right here on Compact Discourse. So we might just close the show with that every day if you guys are okay with it.
I'm a big fan of the trend of 90s hats where they have like an extra logo on the side.
Yes.
Check that out.
I have a few
I'm just
Panthers
checking
hats.
out the computer.
I think I think I talked to Jack about this yesterday. I'm going to get your opinion on it, Chris.
What?
So you know how there's kind of a big move for vintage clothes now, especially like 80s, 90s, maybe sometimes early 2000s, specifically like sports stuff and stuff like that, because like the really vibrant like pictures and stuff on the shirts. Do you think in 20 years from now there's going to be like a vintage move for 2010s, 2020s type stuff? I'll give my opinion after yours.
I mean, probably. I think so. I think there's always going to be people looking back 20 or so years wanting to get that vintage clothes. But I think the issue with that is I just don't see the trend of modern clothes like 50s, 60s. Every decade from, the 20th century has had some unique look and vibe about it. I mean, you have like the hippie vibe of the 60s. The 70s was all about disco. 80s was all about, the pop renaissance, whatnot. 90s grunge. And then even the 2000s had this weird kind of hip hop kind of. We're trying to figure things out. But the 2010s.
A lot of clear colored plastic.
Yeah.
A lot of oversized shorts.
Oversized suits. You can go look at, what was it, the 2003 NBA draft that everyone likes to reference. But the 2010s, I mean, like, what's our thing? We have, like, flat corporate modern style.
Cheetah print stuff.
I mean, the 2010s are over, so we can look at it in retrospect.
Yeah, but that's.
I don't think that's the thing. I don't think there was a thing you could. There probably was.
I mean,
like
it's more about what history is going to remember. And right now we're paralyzed by choice. Like it could be like UGG boots or like silly bands or like
it could be.
It could be any one of those. It could be those Cookie Monster hats. You never know.
In 20 years, if people are clamoring for an Abercrombie and Fitch shirt and a Domo hat, I just don't see that happening.
But the thing is,
that's what your kid's gonna wear that to the pep rally for 2010's day.
I remember that in middle school.
So look, when I talked to my mom about vintage clothes, she wasn't a big fan of it because she lived through it, and she was like, "I didn't like it then, so I don't like it now." I think that's how we're gonna be in 20 years. Like, why are you wearing that Cookie Monster hat and a mustache shirt? Because we lived through it and we hated it.
Why do you have a troll face on your shirt?
I'm wearing the pizza leggings to the
bar.
But
we won't understand it then because I think I kind of get it now. I get what my mom was saying.
I mean, it's a facsimile that gets created by history. Like people, like when you have 80s day at school, like people in the 80s didn't dress like that.
Yeah.
Like it's a.
But they did.
I mean, maybe a movie. Like people.
The 80s weren't a monolith.
Like Charlie Sheen and Ferris Bueller with like the leather vest and the spiked hair. Like I'm sure that's a guy you could see, but it wasn't such like a gaggle of like people always collected together. Jeans and a t-shirt's pretty timeless.
What we consider like the, I guess, decades hit fashion is like what you would wear on like a night out. Like you're right. In school, my dad was going to school in the 80s. He wasn't wearing super bright, colorful jackets and stuff. He was wearing like jeans and a white T-shirt with Converse, which you can see like 100 people here, probably on campus right now wearing that. But it's like, what sticks out? What's like the eccentric style of the decade? And I can't think of anything for the 2010s. And I don't know if that's just because I grew up in it and so it's just normal to me. But
I just look no further than the LMFAO music videos. That's what people are going to remember from that era.
I mean, those were good fits, but like.
Arguably,
it just doesn't really stick out as much. I don't know.
All right, so get excited for everything that's coming up later on this week. I know Davis brought this to my attention, courtesy of Auburn UPC. There is an open mic night September 1st. That is Wednesday. Yeah, it is Wednesday, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. here in the Harold Melton Student Center, second floor lobby next to Starbucks. Sit back and enjoy listening to performances during open mic night. I know UPC has done that in the past. It is a very successful event that they put on, so be sure to check that out this Wednesday evening. That's also brought to you by The Circle and UPC. They collaborate on the open mic night, so look forward to that. Also, look forward to an episode of Compact Discourse later in the week where we are going to bring on some exciting guests. I know J.P. Williams and Will Root are coming on second hour on Wednesday to discuss music. I know there's been a lot of music news going on, something I'm not very learned about, so I'm going to invite some guests in the studio to bring you some news you can use about music. We got Bay Marks coming in, I believe, on Thursday to discuss all of the college football new uniforms that are coming out, exciting this season. Lots of cool throwbacks, lots of cool new looks as the college football season really kicks off this weekend. I know week 0, we don't really like to talk about that one, but the season really gets going this weekend. Also, Auburn is at home against Akron this upcoming Saturday. Get hype about that. It is a whiteout game. Put together your white fits because you're going to want to look good and stay cool on Saturday. that's a good time to remind you about our trivia question, which now has not been answered during the live show. So I'm going to open it to the podcast and the reruns. If you are listening to this podcast or watching on YouTube, the video on demand, go ahead and send in your answer to the trivia question. We'll get to you at some point this week. The Australian coat of arms has 5 animals on it. A kangaroo is one of them. Can you name any of the other 4? Here's your hint, is that 3 of them are birds, 1 of them is a flightless bird, and 1 of them, that flightless bird, won a war against the people of Australia, if that gives you some clues about that flightless bird. All right, and the big thing coming up later this week, I believe on Wednesday, we are going to be having a phone interview with the man, the myth, the legend, the Auburn Minecraft Project. He's going to come on the show and talk about the man who is recreating Auburn, Alabama, the loveliest village in the plains, 1-to-1 scale in the computer game Minecraft. So get ready for that one. It's going to be a pretty fun chat. I'm a veteran of Minecraft myself, and it looks pretty cool. So go ahead and check him out on Twitter to get a primer for what is coming up on Wednesday. I know you guys are excited about that one. All right. Unless you guys have anything else, we're going to get out of here because it is nearly the top of the 10 a.m. hour, and we're going to call it for Compact Discourse today. What do you guys got?
Let me go ahead and close out by saying that after doing your open mic night, go and hang out, spend some time on campus. You can catch the second half of Cheetah Print, which is this Wednesday, 8 p.m., the first episode. Pretty excited about it. Got some good bangers from 70s and 90s and even the 2010s. So Cheetah Print, Wednesday, 8 p.m.
All right, and Through the Lens?
After Cheetah Print, you can listen to the first Through the Lens episode up about the Suicide Squad movie. And then the Parasite one's going to be coming out this Friday.
Sounds like a good one.
Sounds like a good time.
Good one.
All right. Thank you so much for listening to this exciting episode of Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM, however you joined us today, whether that be from your terrestrial radio antenna, from WEGLFM.com, or by listening to our podcast or video on demand on WEGL's YouTube page. We would like to remind you that all of our previous episodes are available as a podcast, commercial-free, wherever you get your podcast. Just search for Compact Discourse. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at CDiscAU, that's at CDISCAU, for links to the podcast, important information about the show, and updates, including how you can get your opinion on the air. You can also tweet at us to get your voice on the show and join the conversation, and join Auburn's only student-run morning show. You might want to go ahead and follow WEGL on Twitter and Instagram at WEGL_AU. That's WEGL_AU. And our dedicated team of marketing professionals are working tirelessly to provide high-quality content for our fans of the station, including a DJ spotlight of Chris Tobias starting today. And with that, for Jack Hart, Alex Houston, Grayson Moyer, Chris Tobias, and Davis Carroll, we wish you a great rest of your Monday, and we will talk at you tomorrow at 8 a.m. on another exciting episode of Compact Discourse. This is Jack Hart signing off, and as always, War Eagle.